All right, good night, everybody. This is Crypto CJ. Welcome to Crypto CJ's Trade of the Day. This is a Monday night edition via Zoom call. So I've got, I don't know, 10 or 20 people on board looking to learn more about day trading. And we use the tools Altcoin Alert and iCoinPro and then some other methods as well. So the first thing I like to do is look at the Bitcoin chart. So let's share my screen and look at Bitcoin. And can someone confirm for me that we are looking at the Bitcoin day chart? Or a Bitcoin chart? That'll be good enough for now.
Yes, I can see it.
Yes,
right,
we
thank
can
you.
see it.
Last week I thought I was sharing for about a minute and a half, and I wasn't, so I had to go back and edit it, and that's a headache. I don't want to do that. Anyway, this is a Bitcoin day chart, and Patrick and I a little while ago were talking about Fibonacci retracements, and I'm not going to go in much into that, but this pink purple line here is my 382 line, which Bitcoin has been honoring for the most part after its rise. It did dip, towards the end of February, and it's been kind of lackluster, but today it's starting to pump. So we're over 52,000 at the moment. Most of the coins have had a green day today, so we like those. And going to the 5-minute chart to evaluate Bitcoin before we make any other moves, it's trending up. So with that in mind, we can at least surmise for the short term that Bitcoin shouldn't be wrecking any of our trades. But let's go check out Altcoin Alert. A lot of the people in this group are from that community. And today I want to focus on the AA scores. I've not done that much in my last few Monday night Zooms. I've been more interested in the trading activity sorts and the 1-hour projected range sorts. But I want to focus a little more on the AA score. I actually went back and perused the training that I went through in July when I first signed up for this program, and then I also just read this little question mark here. This column, the AA score, has little or nothing to do with this column here, the social activity and the trading activity. This is what's happening now. The AA score is what Altcoin Alert thinks is going to happen in the next about 48 hours. Now, when I was using the AA score over the summer, a lot in July and August, I was looking for 80 or better, and I was making trades of 1 to 3%, every couple hours. I was probably making 5 trades a day with Altcoin Alert. I was relying on the AA scores and also relying on my day trading experience to find a good entry point, and then use that to get in. So with that in mind, we have the highest AA score at the moment is Waves, the 73.2. Now, my first impulse is to blow this off because the trading activity is terrible and the social activity is terrible, and the upper range isn't very good. It's only 1%. It's bearish in the long term, so all this is negative. But if we're looking for a coin to bounce back, it's like the 1, 2, 3 dip. At the bottom of the dip, all or most of these categories are going to be negative. So with that in mind, let's go over to the waves chart. This is the 5-minute chart. I've added a volume control over here. Those of you in CryptNation might recognize this. It sort of looks like what Bryce Paul uses to talk about volume. Connie and I talked a little bit about it last week. I took it out of my chart because I thought it was cluttering it up and it made videos a little more difficult, but there's some value in knowing the highest volume and where the price is congregating around that volume. We'll talk about this in a minute, but for now, the waves chart on the 5-minute. Actually, let's look at the day real quick. I want to know if this coin has room to move. Now, looks like I did my fibs back in late January. This is a bit messy, but even now we can see that it was above $14, in mid to late February. I took a big drop, and now it seems to be working its way back. Looks like it just hit $10, and that's That was a high point back in February. However, it's gone past that. Let's go back to the 5-minute chart. And AA is telling us that it thinks this coin's going to bounce back in the next 48 hours. It's already trended up some, probably partly because of the Bitcoin rise. But what I want to know is, where's a good entry point for this coin? This isn't bad. I've got a MACD about to cross. That can be helpful. RSI is pointing up, but I've got the SMA line here that could be difficult for this to punch through. Ideally, we would be in a 1, 2, 3 dip scenario like this. This is where we really want to be. And as you can see, we got those of you who've been through that training should recognize this. We got a squeeze, then a bubble, one dip here with 2 red candles, another dip here, and then another dip here. Not only does this go through a 1, 2, 3 dip, you should recognize this as well from some of my videos. If you watched the RSI 30 5-minute strategy, you set an alert here. And when this 30 goes off, we know that it's in a dip sequence. In this particular dip sequence, it happened around midnight. It hit the 30 value on the 3rd dip. I'm going to make a note here that I'm doing this alert due to an AA score. So I'm going to click that and save it. And so that'll show up here, and this will go off with some hideous noise if and when the RSA drops down to this level, and hopefully it would do so in a dip sequence. So otherwise, we could try to catch a trend on this. It did trend up nicely, about an hour ago. Went up from here to here, 1.35%. Not bad, but I would probably prefer to catch this in a dip sequence before trading it. So that's how I would approach the waves trade with the AA score that we have. There's a couple, if you do decide to get in, say you catch it down in this area here, there's a couple of values here that could be useful. You could use the SMA line as an exit. That's this pink line here. This red line here is the volume point of control. This is in the volume. I'm not sure if this would be a good thing to add. Well, maybe it could be. I'm sort of on the fence. If you do want to add it, you go to indicators here on trading view. Actually, right here, you do a search for volume profile. And it'll come up here. And there's a few different versions of it. I've already flagged the one that I like, visible range. And so that's the one that you see there. And this red line is the volume point of control. That's the highest point of volume in this range. So that could be another a resistance to take into consideration when you consider an exit point. It's currently running pretty similar to the SMA line, but if this were in a dip sequence, this would be dipping down like this, and this would still be up here. So you'd have the SMA line going down here. That would be your first consideration for an exit point. The volume point of control would be the second, and the third probably the upper Bollinger Band, and then these guys right here, slightly above that, would be another place to consider. So 4 different potential exit points, depending on how much risk you want to assume for the trade. Okay, any questions on waves and the AA score? All right, let's look at another one. Okay, we have Litecoin as well. And yeah, it's the same score, 73.2, negative values all over the place. But the Altcoin Alert seems to think this is going to bounce back in the next 48 hours. Let's see what we can find. Okay, let's look at the day chart, see if we have room to move. So if we want to retrace back to the recent high, we've got about 20% to go. It was up here again in late February when Bitcoin was in the high 50s. Most of the coins dropped when Bitcoin dropped that 10 to 15%. And now they're pushing back up. Let's look at the 5-minute chart to see if we can find an entry point for Litecoin. So again, nothing really close to a dip sequence recently here. The MACD just did cross. You see that down here. So let's go to a 15-minute chart. We could try to catch this trend. We've got resistance right here. That's about 1.2%. Not bad. If we look at the hour chart, it's about the same, probably, maybe a little higher. A little over 2%. Litecoin is a coin I don't trade very often anyway, just because it has moves like this. The more expensive coins that are in the hundreds of dollars frequently only move a few percentage points. If I do trade it, I'll use an up or down token on Binance or a bull or bear token on FTX. I would say that's an intermediate strategy. Those of you who are new should nail down your spot trading first before you mess around with leverage tokens. But again, Litecoin is a coin I don't trade very often. It just doesn't move enough for me. So I'm not going to do anything else with that. Any questions on Litecoin before I move on?
Yeah, this one and the last coin both have a large sell within about an hour to 2 hours. See the red bars going up?
Mm-hmm.
Does that give you an indication that then maybe they're going to buy back?
That could be. Usually the price action will correspond with it, and you'll get the candles descending. They did to some degree when they were up here above the Bollinger Band, and then they dropped here. Is this the area you're talking about? See where my cursor is?
Yeah, down. Go down to the histogram where they got those red bars.
Right, down here. But I meant, is this the time frame?
Oh, above that. Above that.
Oh, here?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
You see, you got a whole bunch of cells. It's like the guy goes, okay, take.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see that, wouldn't you expect them now to start putting back in so the price would go up?
Yeah, and that's happened. When that's dropped, it went down below the SMA line, and then it's trending back up. But we have a mixture of volume candles down here. They're kind of alternating red and green. So, but the trend is up, and the MACD just crossed, and it's in the histogram, and the RSI is pointing up too. So this could be a trend trade. You could try to catch this and maybe get up here somewhere, but I just don't see any technical indicators that are really going to help me. I could do the fib extender, or I could just wing it and guess, but I don't like to do that. I like retraces. I like coins to go back to where they were recently. That's how I feel most comfortable trading. But especially on the 5-minute. Well, this is on the 1 hour chart, but if we're on the 5-minute chart, yeah, we'll see. It's a little less visible, but yeah, not as much going on there. So kind of a smile pattern here.
So general question, if I can, CJ.
Okay.
Looking at the different time frames on the charts, does that have anything to do with the time frame that you use to make a trade?
Yeah, I always enter on the 5-minute chart. That's the one we're on now. I look at the day chart to see if there's room for this coin to move, to go back where it was, and there is. Back in February, it was up quite a bit higher, over $200. So that tells me this coin has room to move. And then I might look at the hour chart or the 15-minute chart to see how recently a retrace is available. So I'm looking for something like this to give me an idea of where to get out of the trade. AA might tell you where to get into the trade, but it doesn't tell you where to get out. So,
Right.
and with that in mind, I'm looking for something to retrace here. I do have a tool that I use. I've talked about a couple of times called the Fib Extender, which is pretty easy to use. So I'll throw one on here real quick, just for fun. You can find it over here on the left in the Gann and Fibonacci tools. It's not as complicated as it sounds. Trend-based Fib Extension is the technical name. And I just look for a trading range to apply it. I'm going to click once here. This seems to be the recent low for the day. And then I'm going to go up here. This seems to be the high. I'm going to click a third time back where I started. So these lines should be, or these dots should be on the line. So, and then these values, I learned from the person who showed me this. And I'm usually looking for a return, a trip to this level here, 1.272. So I'm going to click on my ruler and see how much profit that could be. Yeah, 5.28%. That's a pretty good day trade. So it might be something I'd be willing to take a look at if I were inclined to trade using this particular strategy. I use this more when I don't have. I feel strongly a coin's trending, and I just don't have any other information to work with. So that's when I use this the most.
And on that, would you expect that the price would go up to that 1.272 level in the next day or two?
It's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy because other traders use this. So, I'm thinking they might be applying this and getting out. So if I were going to take this trade, I'd probably get out a little bit below that. Like,
make sure you catch it.
For example, a little bit below that's 201. Then I'm thinking, well, 200, it's kind of a mental block for some people. So I might go, 199.5 or 95 or something like that. I mean, that's less profit, but I think it's more likely. Obviously, the lower you put your profit, the more likely it is to hit it. But
okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome. As day traders, remember, we're not going to kill ourselves or torture ourselves if we get a 5% or a 10% trade and then it goes up to 20 or 30%. We don't care. If we hit our goal, that's all we care about. So.
Sure. Thanks.
All right, let's maybe look at one more AA.
Hey, CJ.
Okay.
When you do that, do you always get out 100% if you're shooting for like the 1.2? Do you ever leave some in?
No.
Or is your style to take it all?
I take it all.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just too. I mean, the percentage is too small. If you're holding over the long term, you want to take out. If you're doubling and tripling your money over the long term, then you should do what Bryce and Pizza Mind teach, and that's take out your profit as you go and try to get your principal out too, especially, and then you're on house money. That's a lot of fun. So.
Okay, thanks.
All right. I don't really have any more Altcoin Alert AA scores I want to look at. Let's look at maybe one or two on trading activity. Okay, so I have looked at a couple of these. Now these are coins we are pumping now. So these are the ones that we try to catch on a trend. We're not looking for necessarily dips on these coins. I'll catch one every once in a while, but it's rare. So I've looked at Chiliz, ENJ, and LTO. I think I'll have potential. Let's look at Chiliz. And on the day chart, we're at an all-time high with this coin. So we're in uncharted water. On the hour, It's pumped up to 0.260 and dropped down to 0.245. On the 5 minute, it's kind of hanging around the high. Again, there's no retrace to look at. So this is one we would use that fib extender if you want to take this trade. I'll throw it on there real quick. This is an art, not a science. So I think I'll start here. One could argue you could start here. But I'm going to do this one. And this looks like the high. And the low is about here. The 1.272 is at this 0.285 level. If I take that trade now, yeah, that would be a 15%. 15% is awesome as a day trade. Looking at my technical indicators, I've got a MACD just uncrossed. The RSI is pointing up. It seems to be riding this. This is the 20-day moving average here that I've added. It's well above the SMA line. Got 2 green candles. This is one I would seriously consider taking and probably getting out somewhere in this middle range. Like maybe just below 10%, like 0.272. So, and Bitcoin's
CJ,
pumping right now over
sorry.
52.7. So, okay, we have a question?
Yeah, when you do this, you do the fib and you look at that level and you think, okay, well, maybe it'll go to the 1.2, whatever it is. Do you ever go back and see if that happened to be a resistance from off the left of the chart? Like coincidentally, it's someplace that we've been before.
I would, but we did look at the day chart and I went through it pretty quickly. Maybe you didn't see it, but yeah, we're at an all-time high. So there's nothing back here that's going to
Okay.
show me that.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, that's right. Because you use the fib often when it is the all-time high, you don't have any
right.
history back there.
Yeah.
Which explains it. Okay.
I much prefer the history, but you
Right.
know, I'm doing these trades more because we're in a bull market and it's harder to find dip trades, but
right.
I
Okay,
should just be more
thanks.
patient and do more dip trades. And I feel like I'm gambling a little bit on some of these trend trades, but a lot of traders like them. So, and I've had some success with them, but not as much as the dip trade. So, all right. So speaking of dip trades, let's see if we can find something like that on iCoinPro. Before we move over to iCoinPro, do we have any other questions about Altcoin Alert? I did use the AA score and I did one on the trading activity sort. I've done a lot of trading activity sorts and 1 hour projected sorts on my prior Monday night Zoom. So I wanted to mix it up a little bit tonight, but I will do another one if somebody wants to see one. In case we have, I'm not sure if we have new people here tonight or not, but I'll tell you what, I'll do a 1 hour projected sort, then we'll move on from here. And if you see a coin like this Fusion coin doesn't have a star by it, means I'm not familiar necessarily with it. It may not be on Binance, which is where I usually trade. I'll type it in here and see if it shows up somewhere. Yeah, it's on Huobi and OKX. I don't have accounts on either of those, so that's why I'm not looking at that one.
Theta looks good.
Theta. Okay. Like Theta Fuel, this one here. Or Theta token, duh, right here. All right, let's check out Theta. So we've got trading activity, thumbs up, social activities, fire, bullish, very bullish. Our upper range is above 5%. The only downside is that AA thinks this is going to be bearish in the next 48 hours. But you know what? We're day traders. We want to get out before 48 hours. This might be worth a look. So let's check out Theta. And I know this is in my fib list. And it's trending up. The day chart shows us we're pretty much at an all-time high, and I haven't looked at this probably since January. So let's see if we can do something with this. 4-hour chart, 1 hour. Yeah, there's just nowhere to retrace with this. So I use the 5-minute chart for my, let's use a 15. All right, so I'm on the 15-minute chart, and I'm gonna use that fib extender again to try to figure out where to get out of this trade. I want to catch the trend and get out a reasonable value. So I'm using this as my down point. This is my up point. And right here, and it's a little cut off, but 1.272 is 5.366. So
And look at those 4 big red bars right below you.
yeah. These guys here have been, this one was sold off big when it pumped up here. So is it going to retrace quickly? It's hard to tell. So my 5.019, I usually just estimate these. I don't try to get it exactly. You'd be here forever. So I'm gonna click here once, and that's about a 7%, not quite 7% to the 1.272. So is the 1.272 and less than a 7% profit worth the gamble of having no retracement history with which to consider your exit point? You know, for me, probably not, but others may want to jump in this and see if they can ride it up there, maybe go up to the next value. Yeah, this is always a headache. It always wants to cut off at top. All right, so the 685 is right here at 5.72. That's a pretty big jump. So try to catch it here to the 1.272, somewhere in between, or the 1.618. But these are, you're sort of guessing at this point. So, all right, that. Any questions on Theta? All right, let's go to iCoinPro. And you might recall from prior Monday night Zooms, we were having double digits on a lot of these columns here. I should review this. This is iCoinPro's Buddy Coin Crawler. Most of you received an email showing iCoinPro's 1, 2, 3 dip training. This is one of the tools that's included. I use this every day, and I frequently find trades using this tool. I sort by the average low to the SMA. So I've showed you the SMA line. That's that pinkish line that's in the middle, the Bollinger Bands, and the average low is a 24-hour period. So this coin AVAX here had a 5.9% difference between the 24-hour low and the current SMA line. So I'm usually looking for a value of 5% or higher with these in a bull market. You know, in a sideways market or a bear market, I'll drop down to 3 or 4%. But you know, when they're close to 10% higher, those are really the ones that move, that have the potential to move. And this has a convenient drop-down menu. I can click here and get a trading view chart of this particular coin. It'll put me on the last chart that I was on. So, and we might be in luck here. We've got a big crashing dip here. And one just grazes doesn't quite get through, but dips again. And now I've got a MACD cross. So this isn't a perfect 1, 2, 3 dip. There's a sort of another option, which is a 1, 2 dip with a MACD cross. And we have the MACD cross. We have 2 big dips, and Bitcoin is just pumped beyond 53,000. So all those things in consideration, this might be a very interesting trade. You buy it right this minute to the SMA line, you've got over 2%. to some of this resistance here. There's 4%. To this resistance here, we've got 6.39%. Top of the Bollinger Band, about 7.5%. So AVAX, check the volume, the daily volume real quick. 93 million, that's pretty good on Binance. So I don't know what exchanges you guys are on, but you might want to check this one out. This one, not financial advice, but this one looks pretty good to me. So.
Well, now looking at that, it's already started moving back up.
Mm-hmm.
Hypothetically, if you were going to go into this one, where would you look for an entry point on something that's already started moving like that?
Well, we've got some really nice candle action here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a really nice trend. Plus, it's following the Bitcoin trend that's pushing up right now. So we're hoping it's going to push up. You know, it won't go perfectly up. It might, you know, dip a little bit, then, you know, do some of the zigzagging action. But I'm a little late to this. I would have liked to have caught it, you know, here or here. But, you know, it's close enough. So this is something I'm in for sort of a medium amount because I'm a little late. And I think I'm going to play it. I'll go. A lot of times I go to the second or third resistance. So my first resistance is here, the SMA line. My second is this group of candles here, 25.6. Yeah, that sounds good to me. And you know, I get about 4% on that if that plays out. So we'll see.
And when you put in a buy or a sell order, it's almost immediate, right? There's very little time delay.
Yeah, if I see what I like, I'm in pretty quick. So
okay, so have you ever thought about putting in an order up here, and then if the curve starts turning around, you can put in a lower order with a cancel the higher order?
Yeah, Patrick's talking about is some stop loss action. You can do it on the sell side and the buy side. I actually did one, I think day before yesterday, Saturday or Sunday, because I saw a trend and then it, you know, kind of crapped out, and I thought, I don't know if this is going to do what I want. But then it went into a dip sequence, and I thought, oh, I like that better anyway. So I bought it on a 1, 2, 3 dip. Had I done a stop limit, actually, you know, that would have triggered had it gone up to a certain point, it just wouldn't have filled. It just would have sat there and done nothing. So is that what you're talking about, Patrick?
Well, yes, but the one I'm really thinking of is, let's say you put a limit here on the screen and the price is coming to your limit, so you could cancel it and put a higher limit. So you can kind of ride it up. You see, you keep moving your limit up.
Oh, you mean on the exit,
stalls.
on the sale of something I bought already? Is that what you mean?
You put in a price, but you cancel the order before it hits the price because it's got momentum.
Yeah, you're talking about there's 2 ways to go about that. Again, these are sort of advanced and it depends on the exchange you're on. I'm on FTX and they have a trailing stop loss. So that you set a distance between, anyway, the stop loss rises as the coin rises is probably the short way to explain it. And then there's another one called an OCO, one cancels the other, and that you can give a range. You can give a stop loss below the current price and a sale above the current price, and whatever it hits first is the, you know, is how it works out. So that's a good way to protect profit.
Any of those on Binance?
Binance has the OCO but does not have the trailing stop. FTX has both. Unfortunately, FTX is kind of a low volume exchange, so I don't use it as much as I would like, but I do like it. But and you need a VPN to use it too, just like Binance. So, all right. So
CJ, when you first go in, are you market buying, or are you just not market buying?
No, I rarely market buy.
You just put a couple of ticks away from where you
Yeah,
are.
what I did a little while ago is I clicked in the buy into the sell order book,
Uh-huh.
and maybe I'll do this some other time. I don't want to reveal my finances, nothing personal, but
Wait,
I would
that's what
do
we're
that
here
if I use
for.
my current screen. Well, what I should do is set up a dummy account, and then that way I can show you how to use exchanges, and we'll probably do that pretty soon. But
Yeah.
but anyway, I'll either put in a specific number, that price that I want to get, or I'll click in the order book on something that's already for sale. And if that's close to where I want to be, then that way I know I get my order filled right away. So sometimes
And
it's
when you
moving
pick
too
your-
fast. By the time I click the order book and then click the amount I want to, I want to use in the trade, and I click sell or click buy, it's too late. It's already dropped. I have to do it over again. Can be a headache, but
Yeah, that's
when
why I
you
was
pick
wondering
your-
if I learned not to do market buys, period. But I was wondering when you're day trading, if sometimes you just like jump because you want to get in and do something.
I've done a few market buys. I've done a few market sells,
Yeah.
but it's usually when it's just tearing things up. I did on when did I do that? I did it most a year ago when COVID was announced, and I did some short selling stuff, and that was a day full of market trades, but
Hmm.
that's a highly unusual situation. So
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
CJ, when you pick your target price to get out on, do you do that as a limit sell? I'm new, so it's probably a simple question, but
no, that's a good question. Almost always I use a limit sell and a limit buy.
okay.
And then I talked quite a bit earlier about, how I look at resistance to determine where that market sell is going to be, or that limit sell is going to be.
Yeah, I got that part.
Okay. Cool. All right. So I'm in that one, and let's look at one more from iCoinPro. I've talked about OGN before, Origin Protocol. This is one of my favorite coins to trade, but it's hit an all-time high, so I'm afraid it's left me behind. But yeah, looks like, it just keeps pumping. I traded this coin 20 or 30 times last year, did really well with it. Traded it a couple times during this trend up, and then when it hit this high, was pretty similar to a high it had reached over the summer, and it bypassed that. Now it's over 70 cents. So this would be one we might have to use that fib extender if we want to trade it. So let's do that one again. I'll start here, and here. All right, so the 1.272 is right here. It's hard to see, but it's like about 82 cents. So if we want to take this trade, I'm currently at 73.88. Potential profits about 11.8%. I might try to go here just below 80 cents, maybe like 79.60 or something like that. Almost 8%. So that would be, that would be pretty cool to me. But this coin's been really hot lately. It had a partnership. I don't recall who it was with, but actually had a nice AA alert on an OGN partnership that I took advantage of and talked about a couple weeks ago. So this one's still been moving nicely. So it's one to keep an eye on. I don't really see an entry point. You could put a, yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll put an alert on the RSI. Trend trade. So if it drops to 30, let me know if it's in a deep dip sequence. I might want to get in then. So that's all I have on OGN. And maybe we'll look at one more feature of iCoinPro. They have this one here called the Rsi Spy. And this is more of a situation that'll help you find bigger trends than like the 5-minute I just showed you. This is searchable by the 1-hour RSI and the 4-hour RSI and the 1-day RSI, but it doesn't have a smaller one like I just showed you on the 5-minute RSI. So when coins are below 30 on this value, and when it's below 30 on the 4-hour, these are the kind of ones you want to check. These are really been punished and they're due for comebacks. Now, all the Bitcoin pairs look like this because Bitcoin's pumping. So unfortunately, there's no way to exclude the Bitcoin pairs, or I would, because I don't like trading Bitcoin pairs. I feel like I'm trading 2 coins. And looking on the RSI Spy, I don't see any USDT pairs at all until here, which is, oh, OGN just dropped. Maybe we'll check that out. But this is the coin we just looked at and that I just made a trade on was AVAX. So as you can see, it has a low value, it has a slightly above 30 value on both the 1-hour and the 4-hour RSI. So these are the kind of coins that are due for comeback. So anyway, that's a quick little tool that's also available on iCoinPro. I look at this occasionally, but the Buddy Coin Crawl I look at every day. It's also got a couple other interesting features. A fear and greed index showing extreme greed right now. This is usually lagging by a day or so. This is where it's been mostly in the past month or so. When as contrarians, we often want to go against what the mainstream's doing. So if people are greedy, then that's when you want to sell. When people are fearful, that's when you want to buy overall. But since day trading is such a small time frame, we don't have to concern ourselves too much with this, but it can be helpful to know. This one here is the oversold index, and it's showing that very little is oversold. So when it's higher over here, that means everything's oversold, everything's in the tank. Right now we have the opposite. So all right, so that's about all I have for my review on iCoinPro and Altcoin Alert. I'll throw it open now to any questions you guys have about what you've seen, or any other questions about day trading in general. Do we have any volunteers? Come on, Patrick. Surely you have something to say.
Well, I could always. I'd like to have a list of all the exchanges that you would recommend and their ability to have these trailing stop loss and other things that you mentioned. I'd like to learn all of that.
Okay. Well, I can't really recommend either Binance or FTX because they're foreign and you need a VPN to access them, and there's a certain risk involved when you do that. So, but as far as how to trade on them, and I like them for the reasons you just said, because they have some advanced trading tools, and on Binance especially, I like the volume and the wide variety of coins. You can't beat that. So, but yeah, go ahead and email me and I'll send you. Well, it's really only those two, so it's not much of a list. But I could probably start one. I am looking into I just joined Coin Metro. I mean, Pizza Mind of Altcoin of CryptNation recommends that one. So I'm going to start seeing what I can do with that. So I think they have some of those tools too. So.
And when you say Binance, you mean Binance.com, the international exchange.
International, yeah. I've never used Binance US.
You can get free VPN with Firefox.
Right. I've tried free VPNs before, and at least the two I tried were a bit inconsistent. When I paid for one, it was better, but none of them are perfect. So.
Hey, Patrick, it's Jim here. On the newsletter 59, Aaron talked about Bittrex.com and Bitflyer.us having trailing stop loss features.
Cool.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
just looking at it, so it was on 59 if you want to have a read at that. I haven't used either one. I'm just adding to the response that CJ had.
That's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Well, that's all I have for the Monday night Zoom. If there's nothing else, I'll go ahead and stop the recording here. I'll hang around a little bit if you guys just want to talk about anything crypto. Thanks for watching. Good night. All right, guys.
What about KuCoin? Do you use KuCoin at all?
I have a KuCoin account. I'm staking DOT on KuCoin. Or no, that's Kraken. Sorry. I get those confused, but I have accounts on Kraken and KuCoin. I don't use them very much, but I got those when I was I joined CryptNation. I was trading the the model portfolio, and also I thought it would be helpful in Altcoin Alert in case they had some stuff that wasn't on Binance, but sort of evolved out of that. But it seemed to be okay when I used it. But I probably
Okay, 'cause
didn't use it
I
enough to
just-
really talk intelligently about it.
Okay, I have a KuCoin account and I have a Binance.com account, but I do get nervous about, them going, oh, you can't, bye-bye. I understand if they were to say, catch me from being from the US, that the worst that would happen is they would just say, take your money and go, right? They're not going to keep my money.
Right, and that's happened to
Can
some
they
friends
do
of
that?
mine. They
They
just
did?
say,
They kept
yeah,
it?
you have 14 days to get your coins off our platform. So
Oh, okay. That's, yeah. Even if they gave me 2 days. I mean, I just wouldn't want it to be like, oh, we're keeping your money because you're not from the, you're from the US. So I guess I have Proton Mail VPN. It's pretty good.